We have the pleasure of welcoming Gary Bizzo today to our interview series. I'm Aishwarya Jain from the peopleHum team. Before we begin, just a quick intro of peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work with AI and automation technologies. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. And now for our guest, Gary is the CEO of Siphon Nanotech and Bizzo Integrated Marketing Corporation. He was listed as one among the top 25 businessmen to follow. Bizzo has an international reputation as an agent of change using social media. He is the adjunct professor of integrated marketing, MBA School of Business, New York Institute of Technology. We're extremely happy to have someone of this stature on our interview series. Welcome, Gary. We're thrilled to have you.
Hi, Aishwarya. Did I say your name right?
That's absolutely right. I'm thrilled.
Thanks for the introduction. Boy, I'm impressed with your credentials too. It's very good.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to have you. I'm really curious if you could kind of tell us about your journey and about your experiences that kind of, shaped your thoughts and has led you to this wonderful you are today.
Well, I've always been looking for a challenge all my life. So a lot of my careers, and I've had many careers, they've all hinged around something I thought sounded cool and interesting. Like I became a photographer back when I was a young boy. I always thought that was kind of cool. And then I went to work for the government, became a parole officer working with criminals. I started an arms dealer company where we sold weapons of mass destruction. Maybe not the best job right now, but we only sold to licensed people who could buy our stuff. Moved into, I started an ad agency with my marketing experience. I even started an aircraft company. So all the kind of things that I've worked at have sort of been exciting, I thought, and took me through to the next step in my career. And I guess about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I started falling in love with entrepreneurs and startups. So I ran 2 business incubators, which gave me a lot of joy because I was working with young people like yourself. And as you can see, I'm a little older. I'm really only 30 years old, but entrepreneurship makes you. That's pretty much where I am today. I wanted to do 2 things in my life as I grew older, and one was to teach at university. And I was talking to a friend, and he said, "That's a great idea. I'll introduce you to the dean of my university." So the next thing you know, I'm a professor at the New York Institute. And funny enough, all the students we have are from India. I'm overwhelmed and overjoyed that they are, because I've never run across such polite, caring individuals in my life than my students. And the second thing I really wanted to do was to write. So I'm now on my 4th book. 3 are business and 1 is fun. So I think what you do is you have to find your goals and you have to live them instead of putting them off and waiting for someone else to show you what their goals are.
That's just fantastic. And I think it just, inspires me so much to do something that's, where you can really be passionate, because I think a lot of people stop following their passion or do not realize the value of following your dreams or chasing something that you are passionate about. And it's just a reminder that, while we kind of lose ourselves in doing things that we're not even, worried about, we're not even cared about, we must really look at these things in perspective and try to, chase things that we think would be fun and or would be, something that we'd be passionate about.
I think that's the most important thing is passion. Like, do what you love, um, and you're never too old to be an entrepreneur. I was doing a lecture to a group of people at a mosque, and this lovely woman sat in the front with her arms crossed for the whole hour and a half lecture. And at the end, she said, "I'm 93 years old. Do you think I'm too old to start a business?" And everybody leaned forward in their seats wanting to hear my answer because it sounded crazy. And I said, "Well, let's check this out. Do you live in a neighborhood with children?" She said, "Yeah." "Do you have a home or an apartment?" She said, a home." I said, "Are there any younger children in the neighborhood?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, why don't you take two or three in for after school? 7, 8, 9 years old, so they're not a big effort, and see how that goes." And she did.
Wow.
I just and I thought, I always wondered what happened to her because she had this. She said, "I'm too old to do it," and I said, "No, nobody's too old. I'm starting new businesses every day. I'm in my late 60s."
That's just amazing. Very, very inspiring. And through all your experiences and through your learnings, what have been the core values, the core principles that you always follow?
You have to have empathy for people, and I think when I started my incubators, I realized that paying it forward was a big deal. Like if there's someone that can benefit from your tutelage and your mentorship, then that is an honorable thing to do. And I'll never get rich being the person I am, but I certainly can live comfortably and know that I've made changes for people or helped them make their own changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think empathy, especially in these times, there's a pandemic out there, and if you do not have empathy, then you probably will not be successful with your teammates or just with your organization, right? What's your
I,
advice on that?
no, I totally agree with you. I think the world is going to come out of this stronger in terms of caring for others. And the funny thing I'm seeing and I'm watching intently because opportunity comes from diversity. And I'm already starting to see companies springing up because of this virus, delivery services and personal shoppers and care homes. And I just see a lot of good changes coming from this, even though it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. It's I think humans have always come out of adversity much stronger, and they have survived and they have thrived. So we have that innate human capability of changing the negative to positive and really building on opportunities. So it's just, I think, a matter of perspective that
Mhm.
we just need to really kind of hit the iron when it's hot. That's
Yeah,
the situation.
that's a good one. Yeah.
And there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are trying to get their limelight right now, but it's such a struggle even for them and all businesses out there. Do you have any advice for them of how to kind of cope with this?
I think you really have to put yourself out there. A lot of people will do their job, but they don't reach a critical mass in what they're doing, so they only become average. If you work hard and promote yourself in a niche that identifies you as an expert, I think that's a whole positive way of looking at it. And the other thing is people are can't be afraid to engage with other people, communicate. and ask for help. For instance, I mentioned earlier about mentors. Um, if I was retired, um, I would love to mentor people. I know a lot of my friends who are my age who have retired, and any opportunity there is for someone to ask their advice, they love it because they've got nothing else to do. And there's all this wisdom in their head that is just sitting there waiting for someone to ask. So couple that with the fact that you have to be good at what you do and confident at doing it, and a little less humble. Too many people are humble about what they do, so um, it's harder to get your word out if you're keeping it to yourself.
Yes, that is so true. And when it comes to leaders and leadership, there's just so much that leaders have to focus on. But is there something that's really lacking in the leadership focus today? Why is it so hard to build the right organizational culture with increased employee engagement?
I'll talk about a little bigger company than a 5-person business. As a company gets bigger, they have all these grandiose HR philosophies about what they will do for the employee, and all the benefits the employee has. But in reality, um, they're not walking the walk or talking the talk. So I think employees are more and more underestimated. Um, I think this coronavirus will open up a whole new thing for people to do remote working. And trust me, if you're working from home, as you know, you have to have a lot of, you have to be very careful that you don't get taken away by all the things happening around your house, like the dishes or your favorite TV show is on. You have to be focused. Um, I think large companies have lost what an employee, how important an employee is to the company. They've reduced educational opportunities, they've training, they demand more work out of you, and don't give you raises anymore. So, like, what's that all about? Employees are as we can tell by this corona, employees are the backbone of our business. Look at the healthcare workers and the supply chain people from the food industry. I mean, how do they keep it up? Man, those people deserve all kinds of kudos.
Absolutely, they do. There's so much hard work that's gone into that, and they are being very selfless and trying to do their bit. So, I think
Oh,
leaders.
I wore one of my shirts today.
Ah,
I wore one of my shirts because I came up with the saying, "Doubt kills the warrior." Okay, if you doubt yourself, it'll kill you in battle and in business. And after I would mentor my clients, some of my clients, I would give them this shirt. I gave them the first shirt when I started, and I gave them this one because success gives you the fuel to continue. So that's another one of my. Sometimes it takes everything in your toolbox to be able to help entrepreneurs grow and move that one step further.
absolutely, and that is such a beautiful quote, a really beautiful quote.
Sells t-shirts.
And you know, talking about marketing and marketing strategies, from your experience, can you give us a gist of the evolution of marketing strategies along the years?
Well, I could give you the 16-week long answer. That's what I teach at the New York Institute is consumer and corporate behavior. And up until the 60s, we were marketed to by marketing people who wanted to sell us something. And they pushed in your brain that you had to have this because this is the latest, the greatest, and all this stuff. When in fact, it is now turned into rocket science. Marketing is now a viable science where we analyze the needs, the socioeconomic, the anthropological, and the psychological dreams and aspirations and goals of the customer, and then adapt our product and our marketing to fit that people. I mean, McDonald's, for instance, when they came out with their colorful interiors, everybody says, oh, it's so colorful, but you don't stay in McDonald's like you do at Starbucks because the colors were designed to get you in and out quickly. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So, when you're selling a luxury item, for instance, you'll appeal to ego and vanity and people with money to buy it. Like, be exclusive. I had a lot of fun with my students in my last semester because, I'd go around the class and I'd say, why did you buy that Adidas pair of runners? Or why did you buy that Gucci bag? And they all had different answers, but it was all the same. It was geared, the product was geared to them.
Absolutely. And do
So,
you, believe in that this kind of an adage which says that you need the brand to be, put inside your head at least 10 times, or it has to be visible to you at least 10 times for you to register the brand name.
like that's an amazing observation because back in the days when the print, like magazines and ads were in magazines, this local newspaper would tell people that if they didn't advertise for 7 weeks, they wouldn't see any results, and that's exactly right. I started off by writing a free column for an immigration magazine. And I would just talk about basic business concepts, maybe how to start a business, but very short, just a column. And at the bottom, I just put my name and how to reach me. And that's how I started my marketing my brand. And it became easy for people to see that, gee, if I'm talking about marketing in a magazine, this guy must be an expert. When in fact I wasn't paid any money for it. And, it was just a filler, really. But that allows you to go into other areas like podcast interviews and stuff like that. So now I write for big companies like equities.com, which is based in LA. And I work for some companies. I write about them, so I get paid there. But typically, people don't get paid for writing at these big magazines. It's all about marketing yourself, branding yourself. So every opportunity is an opportunity for you.
Right. And traditionally you used to write in magazines or newspapers, but now everything's moving to digital and the social media, right? And
Yep.
suddenly everything's just so transparent now. And how has that kind of impacted marketing as such?
Well, I almost changed Canadian law about 10 years ago by my Twitter account. I was promoting the transparency of salaries paid to CEOs of charities, and the government of Canada invited me to speak before the House of Commons in Ottawa on why I thought, and my followers thought, that if you're the CEO of a charity, you should be paid a decent wage, but not millions. And after that, I came to the conclusion that one person can change the world. You couldn't do that before. Now you can. And the big thing in the 60s was, people were getting 15 minutes of fame. Now everybody has the opportunity to have 15 minutes of fame, if you want to put it in those terms. And I mean, my reputation was built on Twitter. I had 500,000 followers at one time, and people followed me because they liked what I said. I'm now moving into YouTube. I've set up a big studio in my home, and my wife is now my editor. She's doing all my video editing, so stay tuned for that. So we keep expanding, growing, and transforming into what works. And obviously, as I'm an older guy, it's kind of odd that I'm in so deep into social media, but I think you have to keep track of the trends and be part of them and not have them steamroller over you. I took out a TikTok account the other day.
Oh,
I'm not sure how to use it, but you know, so I'm on Instagram. I'm on most of them. So, but the one I like the most is Twitter because it's immediate. You can gauge people right away, and I don't know. I just had a lot of success with it.
yeah, it's just such an open platform, right? It's very transparent, and it does not even give you the liberty to you know edit your tweet once you've tweeted. So
Well,
yeah,
that's a problem late at night when you're tired and you've had a glass of wine.
I agree to that one. And it's amazing, how you've kind of adopted all this, because a lot of baby boomers are not very comfortable with social media as such.
Hey, my 90-year-old mother is on her iPad all the time. Yet my best friend doesn't know how to turn on his computer. So
Wow.
it's don't give up on baby boomers though. There's still some life in us.
For sure, for sure. And talking about that, do you see generational gaps and mindsets that do not align when it comes to millennials, the Gen Z, and the baby boomers? Do you see that in workplaces?
The biggest thing I've seen is the in my book Social Media Rockstar. I pick up on the fact that I think millennials have a totally different mindset. Um, and the millennials in their 20s are more so. They just don't care about certain things that we've taken for granted. So I think when it comes to marketing, it's a different way of looking at it. When it comes to engaging with them, you have to have a different approach. So yeah, I mean, the age gaps are definitely there, but again, you have to educate yourself on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Uh, it's particularly important if you're a millennial and you're trying your market is baby boomers, because unless you talk our language, we're gonna just blow you off and think that you're another one of those millennials.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it would be important, if you need to have an inclusive workplace, you need to build those bridges between all generations and really work it out.
Oh yeah, I mean, I all my students obviously they're graduate students, so they're all like 23, 24 years old, and um, they bring in birthday cakes for me, and at the end of the semester we go out and have a few beers. I relate to them, and I don't know why, but they appreciate it, and it's fun. It makes work fun for me.
Absolutely, and that is so nice, to hear that you're just so fluid about this and you're not stuck up, right? Because a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of uh, the baby boomers that I talk to, they just have these siloed mindsets, which is
yeah.
just so sad.
and that's more so in my age bracket because I think it's because we don't understand, or some people don't understand the differences in generations. But if you're in business, you have to understand those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And with respect to new age technology and this artificial intelligence, this automation, do you think that these will drive the workplaces of the future, and are they really enablers in the process, or are people still kind of reserved to use technology?
No, again, if you're not on the leading edge of technology, you're going to be left out. Like 5G has allowed AI to become the robust um, technology that it should be. I mean, it's been around 30 years, AI, but it's never been unleashed until the power of the cloud, big data, and 5G have come to support it. And now, I mean, AI is responsible for teleconferencing, high-speed research in the coronavirus, for the autonomous cars, virtual reality. I mean, it's there. It's for quantum research is what we're doing here in one of my companies, quantum research in alternative generators for power. We couldn't do that without. In my case, we use a quantum computer that is called the Sycamore at Google headquarters in California, and that allows us to model our data so that we understand where our technology can scale to. So, yeah, I'm not sure many baby boomers know as much about leading edge technology as I do, but I'm on top of it.
That is so wonderful, and I think we really need more people to understand that technology can really be a supporter and not just, not hinder your progress, and it could lead to some amazing discoveries, and it has in the past too, right?
Well, I think it's a scary proposition for a lot of people, like Zoom, for instance. Last week it was called Zoom bomb or something. Uh, it's not secure. Well, who cares? Hardly anything we do is secure these days. So you really can't be afraid of technology, and you have to embrace it. That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely, that makes so much sense. And I mean, you're there on almost every social media platform, and your information is just out there. And we're interacting with, chatbots. If we go on, let's say, a shopping website, or even if you have to apply for a job, you're interacting with, a chatbot. Let's say there is just so much automation around you, but still, yes, I agree. There are a lot of people who have automation anxiety, as we call it. They're still, yeah, they're not so.
Yeah, automation. That's a good one. Automation anxiety. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Well, do you think that after the pandemic is done and we're over with that, do you think that that's going to change the way we work, the way we look at people? Is that going to change?
Well, one of the things that's the big changer, I've written an article on this, the 10 trends after the coronavirus that are going to happen, is remote working has to take a better hold on employees because uh, every time you have an employee working from home, a good employee, the company saves like $29,000. It, it's cost benefit analysis. You actually save money by working from home, and people are happier at home. I mean, I can get up, make lunch, and or I can go out in my backyard and visit the birds for half an hour and then come back, and then I'm more productive than if I'm sitting in an office with fluorescent lights beating down on my head. Um, telemedicine. You know, the big problem with doctors is trying to get into their office. And a lot of times it's, hey, I've got an owie on my finger. Can you look at it? Well, why can't he look at it on Skype? Like like one morning a week, instead of having office hours, he has a 2-minute, 5-minute Skype call with you to look at your little blister. I mean, things are going to change, and it's good. No, we need a wake up call every once in a while. And um, the educational aspect of it, you know, there's so many people that are learning from Coursera and all the other ones out there that this new technology is just going to make it easier. And that's what people are looking for. Easy, right?
Absolutely. I think it's a good time to upskill and reskill and learn a lot, and take some time off, and kind of go into retrospection, or just look at things from a different perspective, in a different light, and that might probably give you more clarity if you are a lost person, as I think almost all of us are. I think this would be a good time to reflect on ourselves.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, for sure. You know, reaching out to people. There's a lot of people out there with, they don't know what to do with themselves. So reaching out to people that, you know, don't normally talk to, just to re-engage with them, see what they're doing. Maybe there's opportunities that I've had a lot of friends from Facebook call me up out of the blue. I haven't spoken to them in years, and it's like, hey, how you doing out there in Vancouver? Is it the coronavirus bad? Yeah, but same where you are. What are you up to? And that leads into a business conversation. So it's positive. Everything happens for a reason.
Oh, absolutely. I completely believe in that. And I also think that whatever happens, happens for the good. So, there will be good coming out of this. Bad times are always followed by good times. So, yeah.
Let's hope, knock on wood.
Yes, touch wood. Well, I had an amazing conversation with you, Gary. Thank you so much for taking up the time and for sharing your thoughts and your views. It's been very thrilling.
Well, thank you very much for taking your time. I know it's quite late where you are. It's
Yeah.
in the morning, isn't it?
It's okay. We're used to it. And I
and,
love, I love talking to you.
and I really love your channel. I think it's great. I've gone through it a lot and looked at what you're doing, and keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. It's just people like you that keep us going. So thanks a lot.
Well, that's nice to hear. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Take care, Gary, and we'll stay in touch.
Bye for now.
Bye.